Welcome to Mindful Leadership, Transforming Lives, with your host, Singh. This is where leadership meets purpose, presence, and passion. In today's fast paced, high pressure world, we face a leadership crisis. Too often, teams are led by managers who lack empathy, clarity, and vision, leaving individuals uninspired, disconnected, and undervalued. But it doesn't have to be this way. Great leadership isn't born, it's built. The end game: empower your leadership, inspire the world. Every week, join me, your host Singh, as we tackle the gaps in leadership and life coaching head on, learning how mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and compassion can redefine success. This isn't just another podcast, it's a mission to fill the void left by ineffective leadership. And it's not just about leadership in business. Life coaching for leaders and new executives is at heart of this journey. Ready to rise above the noise and lead with clarity, purpose, and impact? Join a global movement dedicated to reshaping the future of leadership one mindful moment at a time. Let's begin.
Hello, everyone. I am Singh, and you are listening to Mindful Leadership, Transforming Lives on the Transformation Network, where we tackle the chaos of modern leadership with clarity, purpose, and maybe a few laughs along the way. Let's face it, the world needs better leaders, the kind of leaders who can stay calm in a crisis, inspire their teams, and most importantly, make it through a Monday morning without wanting to fake a Wi Fi outage. If you are here, you are ready to become one of those leaders. So let's do this. Empower your leadership, inspire the world, and maybe even have a little fun while we are at it. Let's begin. All right, let's get real for a second. Have you ever had one of those days where you feel completely off, but you can't explain why? Your emotions are running the show, and you are just the passenger strapped in for the ride. Maybe it's Monday, your coffee tastes like regret, and suddenly you're snapping at your dog for looking you at the wrong way. I get it. We have all been there. See, emotions are tricky. They are like pop up ads on the internet. One second you are fine, and the next you are overwhelmed by a limited time offer on frustration and sadness. But here's the thing, those emotions are not random, they are signals. And if we learn to recognize and name them, we can turn that chaos into clarity. Why it matters, and especially right now. Have you seen the news lately? Whether it's economic uncertainty, international disruptions, storms disrupting half our country, or a social media platform imploding because someone decided to charge $8 for a blue check mark. If it feels like we are all living in one big emotional roller coaster. And do you know what happens when you ignore your emotions during times like this? It's like ignoring the check engine light on your car. Sure, you can keep driving for a while, but eventually you're going to end up stranded on the side of the road, texting your ex because they still have AAA. Think of your emotions like your inbox. If you leave them unchecked, they pile up to a chaotic mess. But if you take a few moments to sort them through, read, delete, and prioritize, you take back control. That's exactly what we are going to do. So here's the deal. By the end of this episode, you will have the tools to recognize and name your emotions. Because let's face it, if you cannot name it, you cannot tame it. And trust me, naming your emotions is like uh, Mario Kondoing your brain. You're clearing space for what truly matters and letting go of the mental clutter that doesn't spark joy. And hey, this isn't just about you. When you learn to manage your emotions, you become the kind of leader who can guide your team through uncertainty, inspire confidence, and make up, even keep you cool when Kiran from accounting accidentally eats your lunch again. So grab a notebook or just your brain. Let's get started. Let's kick off with some brain science. Don't worry, let's keep it light. Did you know when you name an emotion, you're basically giving your brain a software update? Yeah, your prefrontal cortex, the logical, calm part of your brain. It takes over like a tech support guy saying, "Oh, let's fix this chaos." I know it's a joke coming from an Indian about tech support guy, but think of this way. Your emotions are like that endless pile of files on your desktop. If you don't label them, they just sit there, making everything slow and overwhelming. But when you name your emotions, you are hitting the organize button. Suddenly, your brain is like, oh, this is stress about work, not world ending. Cool, we can handle that. And here's the sciencey part of it. Naming your emotion reduces their intensity. It's called effect labeling. Instead of getting swept in a tidal wave of feelings, you're watching it from the shore, saying, ah, yes, that's category three frustration. It's like becoming your own emotional meteorologist. Now let's get real. How many of you have ever said, I'm fine, when you are definitely not fine? Yeah, see, me too. Saying I am fine when you're clearly 2 seconds away from snapping is like putting a post-it note on a volcano that says, this is fine. Spoiler alert, but it's not fine. But when you name it, I'm stressed because of, let's say, my coworker keeps ceasing me in every email in existence. You are halfway to solving it. Let's talk about real life examples. The first one I always talk about is hangry. You know, that magical mix of hunger and anger that turns you into a monster who's ready to fight anyone standing between you and a sandwich. You're not mad at anyone in particular for asking what's for dinner. You're just one Snickers bar away from being a decent human being again. Or how about this one? You are in a meeting and someone says, let's circle back to this later. Your brain immediately goes, what? Circle back. Is that code for you think my idea is terrible? You leave the meeting feeling annoyed, anxious, and maybe even a little insecure. But here's the thing, if you pause and name it, you might realize it's not about the meeting, it's about the feeling unheard. And let's not forget the classic I am fine. My favorite example of this one is when someone cuts you off in the traffic and you're yelling, what's wrong with you? You're not actually mad about the car. You're mad because your day started with your boss sending you a vague email that said, we need to talk. Sounds familiar? See, when you don't name your emotions, they show up in unexpected ways. I'm trying to, it's like trying to hold a beach ball under water. It's going to pop up somewhere, probably when you least expect it. So recognizing your emotion isn't just helpful, it's survival. All right. When you don't name the emotions, think about a situation where you are at a family dinner and your aunt says something passive aggressive like, oh, you are still single? That's brave. You want to scream, but instead, you shove mashed potatoes in your mouth and say nothing. Later, you find yourself crying during a TikTok about a dog finding its forever home. What happened? Here's the deal, when you ignore your emotions, they don't go away, they just hang out in your brain like uninvited guests, waiting to hijack your day. It's your brain version of slow loading web page. It's frustrating and nothing works right until you deal with it. Now imagine if you would have named that emotion in the moment. You might have thought, okay, I'm feeling annoyed because my aunt's comment touched a nerve. But that's not about her. It's about me feeling insecure. See, clarity. Instead of bottling it up, you diffuse the situation before it turns into an emotional explosion later. Think of naming your emotions like putting together IKEA furniture. Sure, it's frustrating at first, but when you follow steps, everything makes sense. You're left with a functional brain instead of an emotional mess that's missing a screw. Here's the bottom line: emotional awareness is a superpower. It is the first step in transforming chaos into clarity. When you name your emotions, you're not just reacting, you're responding with intention. And let's be real, if it works for toddlers having meltdowns, it can work for you too. Next time you're feeling overwhelmed, try this. Pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? You might be surprised by the answer. Because here's the truth: you can't manage what you can't name. And once you name it, you have already taken the first step towards taming it. That's power. That's leadership. And that's how you stop emotions from running the show. All right. Like every show, let's get practical. I'll give you another tool. Recognizing your emotions isn't just about feeling in touch with yourself, it's about staying sane in a world that's trying to drive you crazy. And let's be clear, between the never ending news cycles and the 27 group text you didn't ask to be in, and the fact that TikTok knows your fears better than you do, we are all feeling something. The big question is, what are you feeling and why? That's where this framework, focus, FOCUS, focus framework comes in. A simple 5 step process to help you get clear on what you're feeling and why. Think of it as your emotional GPS. It doesn't just tell you where you are, it helps you to figure out how you got there. So let's break it down. The first one, step one of focus is to find clarity. F. This is the foundation of emotional awareness. If you don't know what you're feeling, you are like a person wandering through IKEA without a map, lost, overwhelmed, and wondering why you agreed to this in the first place. Now, here's how you do it: pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Don't overthink, don't try to fix it, and don't try to judge. As an observer, just notice. It's like turning on a flashlight in a dark room. Let me give you an example. The other day, I was sitting in traffic because apparently rush hours now last from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. It was a new notice for me. And I felt this wave of frustration. But when I paused and checked in, I realized it wasn't because the traffic, it was because the meeting I was running late for. And deeper than that, it was an unsatisfied customer I was going to meet. And I was feeling unprepared for that. So here's a pro tip: set a timer for 2 minutes a day to check in with yourself. It will feel awkward at first, but trust me, clarity grows with purpose. It's like going to the gym for your brain. You're not doing anything wrong, you're just building those emotional muscles that never existed. So it takes time. So the next step, in focus is observe bias. And no, I'm not talking about the kind of bias that gets you canceled on Twitter. I'm talking about your emotional blind spots that we all have. Here's the deal: we love to blame other people for how we are feeling. My coworker made me mad. No, Karen from accounting didn't make you mad. You just send an email, you're mad because you feel unappreciated. See, observing bias is about separating the trigger from the emotion. Ask yourself, am I blaming someone else for what I am feeling? 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes. Another real world example. Imagine you are at a family dinner. I will not bring your aunt. Imagine you are at a family dinner and someone says, you are still single. That's brave. You feel a surge of anger, and your first thought is, my aunt is the worst. But if you go deeper, you realize the anger isn't about her, it's about your own insecurities. So here's the takeaway: when you observe your biases, you take back control. You stop reacting to people and start responding to your emotions, which then takes us to step three: connect to triggers. This is where the magic happens, where you ask yourself, what caused this emotion? Was it an event? Was it a thought or something deeper? Let's say you're feeling anxious about a deadline at work. Is the anxiety about deadline itself, or is it about your fear of disappointing others or yourself? See, connecting emotions to triggers help you see the full picture. A few weeks ago, I was sitting with a friend who was feeling really irritable, right? Like snapping at his dog irritable. When I sat down with him and explained him, walked him through, and he took a moment to connect to the triggers, he realized it wasn't about his dog barking at the delivery guy. It was about his feeling where he was overwhelmed and stretched too thin. Now, once he named the trigger, in matter of minutes, he could actually do something about his being stretched too thin and being overwhelmed. Think of it like solving a mystery. Your emotions are clues, and the trigger is the culprit. Once you identify the trigger, you are no longer just a detective. You are the judge, the jury, and the problem solver. All right. Step four is to understand nuance. And this is where I see most people get stuck. We tend to label emotions at a surface level: happy, sad, angry, hungry, angry. But emotions are way more nuanced than that. So, for example, are you actually angry, or are you irritated, offended, or impatient? Are you actually sad? Are you actually sad? Or you are disappointed, lonely, or melancholy? See, naming your emotion with precision is like upgrading from crayons to a 64 color palette. Use the emotional wheel tool. I will put that in the link. It's a thesaurus for your feelings. You start with a broad emotion like angry, but it breaks down into more specific emotions like frustrated, annoyed, or jealous. See, that is a game changer. Remember when the internet collectively lost its mind over Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's dating rumors? Were people really angry about it? Or were they jealous that their favorite pop star was happy while they were still swiping on dating apps? See, nuance matters. Nuance matters. And then the final step is simplify the story. Once you have named the emotion and the trigger, summarize it in one sentence. For example, I am feeling overwhelmed because I am juggling too many responsibilities. Now, simplifying the story does two things. One, it gives you clarity. And then it makes emotion less intimidating. It's the difference between saying I'm drowning in stress and saying I'm feeling stressed because I overcommitted myself this week. One feels like the end of the world. I'm drowning in stress. But the other, because overcommitted myself, I'm stressed. That makes feel manageable. Think of it like writing the headline for a news story. You're taking all the emotional chaos and boiling it down to the essentials. And once you got the headline, you can start writing the chapter. So, wrapping up, focus framework for recognizing emotions. Find clarity, pause and ask, what am I feeling? Observe bias, separate the trigger from the emotions. Connect to triggers, find the root cause. Understand nuance, name the emotion with precision, and simplify the story. Summarize it in one sentence. It's simple, it's effective, and it works. And hey, if you can use it to figure out why you are mad at your coworker or why you are crying during a dog adoption commercial, you can use it for just about anything. Now, there is a very simple exercise to use the focus framework. Step one, you ground yourself. You take a deep breath through your nose, hold it for a moment, exhale slowly through your mouth. Do it a few times. Then, step two, you ask that big question: what am I feeling right now? Don't overthink, just be an observer. That's the whole notion about being mindful in minute, is to become the observer of that minute time that you have. And hey, if your emotions feel a little ridiculous, that's okay too. Maybe you are feeling annoyed because your neighbor's kid keeps practicing the recorder at 7 a.m. or jealous at someone's Instagram brunch, right? So, no judgment here. Identify the trigger. Emotions are like pop up ads in the internet, like I mentioned earlier. The trigger is the website you visited, and the emotion is the annoying ad that just appeared. The trigger was you visiting a shop with a list, but then something on the side of your eyes attracted for you to get derailed. Name and summarize. Name emotions and simplify the story. For example, I am feeling stressed because I overcommitted myself this week. Or my favorite is I'm feeling irritated because my dog decided 3 a.m. was perfect time to bark at the wind. When you name your emotion and attach it to a specific trigger, you stop the spiral. You are no longer just stressed. You are stressed because of this one thing. And once you know the cause, you can start figuring out a solution. And that's when you reflect and you reset. Emotional awareness isn't about solving every problem. It's about giving yourself the space to understand what you're feeling and why. And when you do that, you're not just reacting to life, you're responding with intention. So, Whether you are feeling stressed, excited, or just a little hangry, remember this. You have the power to name it, to tame it, and take control. This is where rubber meets the road, or if you are like me, where the yoga pants meet the couch. Here's my challenge for the week. Take just 2 minutes a day to check in with yourself. That's it, 2 minutes. You spend more time waiting for your phone to load Instagram reels about people making sourdough bread they will ever eat. You have 2 minutes. Go through this exercise. Pause, breathe, and ask what I'm feeling, what triggered it, write it down, and share this episode with someone who needs it. Because let's be real, emotional awareness isn't something we are taught in school or colleges or even corporations. And we all know someone could use a little help naming and taming their feelings. Remember, you can't manage what you can't name. Emotional awareness isn't about being perfect, it's about being present. It's about showing up for yourself so you can show up for people and work that matters most. You are listening to Mindful Leadership, transforming lives on the Transformation Network. Go out there, do the challenge, and start making emotional awareness your superpower. Let's begin.
Thank you for watching Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives. With me, your host, Singh. We are honored to have you join us on this journey to explore the transformative power of mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and authentic leadership. Tune in every week on transformationtalkradio.com at noon Pacific on Tuesdays, where we will continue to explore how mindful leadership can create a ripple effect of positive changes in your life and lives of those you influence. This show is dedicated to helping you lead with purpose, presence, and passion. Whether you're navigating the complexities of business, building strong connection with your team, or striving to make a meaningful impact in the world around you. To learn more about the show, access additional resources, or dive deeper, visit singpowerupcoach.com. Remember, leadership isn't just about what you do, it's about who you are. Let's continue to transform lives together, one mindful moment at a time. See you next week.
Views expressed on this program are those of the host, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views of the station, its management, or advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.